Get out!
Hello tanks and tankettes, and welcome to a bit of live recorded very old World of Tanks, because for this year, for the around April event, it's not really an April Fool's this, it's not like they've gone, oh hey yeah, this is, we accidentally deleted the more recent version and this is the only backup we could find. No, they've basically just released it as a limited time classic event, and it is in fact patch 0.70, and I couldn't remember if I had played that far back, and as it turns out I've played almost that far back. My account was created I think about a month or two after. It was patch 0.71 anyway when I very first started playing, so this is definitely a bit of a nostalgia trip for me. I can remember vaguely some of these things from way back when, although most of my earlier tanks memories revolve around the French line, which came around 0.73 I think it was. I must have dabbled with the Soviets and maybe the low tier US. I honestly can't remember what my very first starting machines were, but I remember really getting into the French machines once they were announced, and thus began a lifelong love affair with the AMX40, which I can't show you. I can't show you the old AMX40, but you know, if you really want to see that, you can go and watch one of the many videos on my channel. So I don't know where to start exactly. This is just going to be me playing a little bit of old World of Tanks. It's one of those, you know, rose-tinted spectacles kind of things, except it also is a very good reminder that as much as this was the game that I fell in love with back in the day, man, it's got some flaws. It really does. They have definitely fixed some things. Some things are still, you know, they've never just been addressed at all. RNG is pretty much the same as it ever was, although the actual aiming, the formula they used, the sigma values and all that jazz, were different back for this version of the game, so it all does feel a bit different, and armor is maybe a bit more effective, but that's also a lot to do with the fact that back in this version of the game there was the genuinely pay-to-win element of premium ammo literally just being only available for golds, which is where the name gold ammo comes from. Old Ruinberg, by the way. There's all sorts of other things as well that have been added over the years. I mean, quite aside from the graphics, there's the physics, which was a very big change. You can't actually fall off bridges or any such like thing. Of course, artillery is radically different. You can have lots more artillery, which is very unpleasant. And man, it took them such a long time to do anything about artillery at all. Some of the memories that this has brought back have not, you know, entirely been pleasant ones. I'm definitely getting more than 50 ping, by the way, at the moment. I think that the server they've created, the separate server, they've had some technical issues, I think it would be fair to say. They rather underestimated the demand, and I've seen videos from people playing with the NA server where it's like literally the tank's been teleporting around the place. But yeah, this feels like a good quarter to a half second delay with all of my inputs, so I don't know if there's just lots of people playing at the moment. I've gone with the derp, by the way, because it's a nice safe choice, hopefully. Mind the frame rates. I don't miss these frame rates either. I don't know if this is exactly the old version of the game, because the lighting seems a lot more crisp than I remember. Yeah, we're about to get boned in the back, by the way. This matchmaking is also a thing that I don't think anybody at all ever misses. When everybody had +3 and the scouts had, what was it, +4? You could see tier 8s in your tier 4 scouts and up to like tier 10s in your... Yeah, this is really not helping with shooting with a derp gun, this input delay. It's pretty painful. Also, we are getting a bit massacred, but I'm not sure it makes any particular difference. It's just me sitting reminiscing about old World of Tanks. But yeah, the tech trees are so different, and in a way that was a good thing. You know, it's inevitable that they would have added more, but when I started playing, it was a hell of a lot more easy to do things like memorize weak spots. And oh, by the way, weak spots were much more of a thing. Also, we're running at less than 20 FPS right now. Yeah, even though this might not quite be the exact same game engine, it's still not running particularly well. Although I do have all the graphics settings turned up. We could go for the full toaster experience, see if we can do that before we actually run down on time. Let's go for just the low preset. Oh, we can't do that right now. Okay, restart later. But let's try that. Let's try the extreme potato graphics and... yeah, I know, don't be fussy. See if that makes... it should. Oh, there we go. Yeah, FPS massively shot up, and oh boy, this looks so much worse. I guess we'd have to restart for some of the settings to kick in, but yeah, at least it's running more smoothly. So, yeah, I mean, this is it. This is what spawned the World of Tanks that we have today. And in some ways it's quite a different game. In other ways it really hasn't changed that much. But if anyone is particularly wondering if they missed out on playing World of Tanks in the old days, I mean, kind of, but not really. I would say overall the game is better now than it was once upon a time. But some of the things that they've just never ever addressed over the years. I mean, gold ammo itself was just even... The removal of it as a pay-to-win thing was great, but they never went beyond that. I know people that straight up, very good players, that straight up quit the game when they just decided that premium ammo was going to be available for everybody. And it was sort of a band-aid fix for matchmaking as well. I mean, when did they change +3? It wasn't that many patches after this that it went from +3 to +2. But it was a sort of band-aid fix for even +2 matchmaking when suddenly you could just reach for your premium ammo instead of it being gold ammo, I suppose, to make that distinction. It did change things a bit in that regard, but still, they never properly addressed it, and it's only now, literally years later, that they're finally getting around to the idea of, well, okay, maybe we'll try having it be less damage for more pen. And I did actually say in the previous video, you know, what if way back when they'd decided to go the opposite way and have it be like the box tanks premium ammo, where it's lower penetration but more damage. That could maybe have been an interesting way to go about things. We have the normal higher pen ammo be your standard and then higher damage be the premium ammo. But they never went down that route. I don't think they even ever really seriously explored that route. Man, this is old Swamp. No, not Swamp, Comarin. But I think Swamp is the old... God, Swamp went through so many versions. The Comarin, of course, isn't even in the game anymore. Let's see if I can remember how to play this. Half the nostalgia's just been from playing these old maps. This is with the top engine, by the way. And of course, this is a slice of nostalgia for me all on its own, the Tier 6 medium tank VK. There were a lot of very unbalanced tanks. I mean, it wasn't a huge tech tree, but a lot of people have been playing around with the KV, which could mount the 107mm, and of course the KV2, and that was the KV3 at Tier 6, or the KV2 turret and gun combo. I didn't quite finish that thought, and I meant to. So yeah, and then you've got the Schmalterm, which was meant as a counter to that, which is still kind of in the game. They took it out and of course put it back in as a premium, which made people mad in its own right, but it couldn't really keep existing as it was. Oh man, this thing has such bad gun depression. Right, this is only doing little bits of damage. This input lag is really bad. I think they severely underestimated the amount of interest people were actually going to have in this. The very first day it was out, there were massive queue times. And I suspect a lot of people that wanted to try it on that first day just didn't get in at all. But this is probably quite good compared to, I'm sure, the ping some people are getting. Hey, artillery. Yeah, artillery was uncapped back in the day. You could have literally 2 teams full of artillery, and I don't know if that's ever happened in the history of World of Tanks, although it quite possibly has at some point. But certainly I've seen screenshots of 14 out of 15 tanks on each team being artillery. I will bring up the anecdote of what was it, like a Redshire game. And this wasn't my game, this was, I read it or somewhere I read this. And yeah, someone had posted this screenshot with 14 versus 14 artillery. And essentially them and the only other non-artillery piece were hiding under that one bridge in Redshire, which you could still hide under back in that day and age. It was one of the few pieces of, you know, actual cover. And, oh, okay, I'm still spotted. No 6th sense, by the way. I guess let's repair the tracks. So if we can't back up. So, yeah, the 2 tanks just went and both kind of had a mutual truce, much to the rage of all of the artillery players, who were both angrily shouting at them in the chat to get out there and do their job, goddammit. And they declined to. They both just sat under the bridge doing nothing at all and letting the artillery fight it out face to face, which always struck me as being rather hilarious. We are being capped, by the way. I mean, I don't think I can do much in time to... What is even our cap circle? It'll be this one, won't it, over on this side? Will it? I think so. Man, this was another map that went under so many changes over the years. Let's see if I can actually spot from here. I do have a very good view range. Or is that the enemy flag? No, yes, that is... There we go. Can I get a hit from here? No. Maybe one of our artillery can. It's going to take me a while to get off this island. I don't miss this map especially. I think of all the maps that have been taken out of the game I do miss, Port is the only one I would like to see come back in some form, and that was really just because I like the aesthetics of Port. The map itself was quite unbalanced, which is why they removed it. Right, oh god, I'm never going to hit a T50-2 with this amount of lag, this amount of delay, but I guess we'll give it a go. Ooh, right, I'm going to have to get down into cover. For those Johnny-come-latelys that don't even remember single-use consumables, playing this might be a bit of a shock. Premium consumables, and again, only available for actual gold, i.e. actual money. You could use, you know, you could have a regular repair kit and a gold repair kit, for example, but yeah, most people couldn't afford to do that, so... There's not a lot one can do, you know, if you use your repair kit, then that's it, it's used. Man, the reticle is so far ahead of where my mouse is kind of looking. Also, this is exactly why the T50-2 was the terror of the mid-tiers, the terror of the scout tanks when it was introduced. I don't know what this 220 is doing, but it's not a lot. Just kind of chillaxing, hanging out. Yeah. I think we maybe could have defended this one, but we've got a few tanks in not particularly useful positions. Although, you know, it's a special server, none of this really counts, none of this really matters. No damage, nothing like that. I think that was oh god, 07... 072, 073, something like that. It was only a couple of patches after this that they started to introduce the later, you know, the more complete score screens. We'll do one more just because why not? We'll maybe take something... Let's take the old school LOL tractor. Let's finish off with something a bit derpy and silly. So yeah, this has been interesting to come back and try 070, which is almost when I started playing myself. For some people this will be a whole new experience because they'd have started playing a lot later than this. But yeah, it's a good reminder of where we've come from, I suppose, and all the issues that World of Tanks still has. God, on premium ammo alone, I think when I started playing this game and started to... You know, it probably took me months to come to grips with the various systems in the game and understand the various things that were going on. But yeah, once I started to understand things like premium ammo and the rest of it, and just to go back and... Oh, good, yes, here we go. Yeah, some things never change. If I told my past self, like, what, 5 years ago? Yeah, 5 years ago, that some of these things would still be big problems, that people would still be camping in Kampenovka. Oh my god, this brings back so many memories. Then I probably wouldn't have believed my future self, but as the saying goes, sometimes the more things change, the more they stay the same. I don't know why this T1's driving out here, but okay. Oh man, that RNG. We've already got somebody that's turned blue as well, so we've got someone that's just shooting teammates because why not? Excellent. I don't know what I'm doing. I should probably not really be anywhere around here, but oh well. If I sit here, at least in theory, some people can support me. If I go too much further up the hill, obviously that's not going to happen. Even just this engine sound brings back memories. Oh good! Team kills! Excellent! Well, this is the point where we can shoot with the team killer, if the mechanics hold true. You can see which one it is. Oh, there we go, someone's TK'd the TKer, which they can do without penalty because they turned blue. There's no point in doing it, like, you're just going to get yourself locked out for a couple of games. It's your own time you're wasting, ultimately. I think one of the things maybe they could have done with this is perhaps have a separate service, even just like, you know, a server for North and South America and then a server for Eurasia, or even just Russia and Europe, and then maybe kind of one in the Asian area, which would still cover a fairly big chunk of Russia as well. It would have improved things slightly. I am genuinely, having said what I said at the start of this, I am genuinely, I can't even worse today, genuinely a little bit disappointed that they didn't try and at least yank our chains a bit about, oh yeah, this is the latest update. This is it. We lost all the other game versions. This is all that's left. I mean, it would have been mildly amusing, but anyway. It is interesting. It is. But it's interesting also in a way of, like, I couldn't get into this these days. I've played too much World of Tanks over the years that if I was starting afresh with this, hell, even just this versus, you know, 2019 games, I don't think I would last long. Oh my god, this input delay is so bad! This is not 33 ping. It really isn't. I'm trying to angle a bit here, but fully relying on auto aim just because it's so bad. But I'm rather hoping some of the people behind me will take notice, but probably not. See if I've got the gun depression for this. Could bounce a little bit with the angling, but yeah, not a lot. Oh, they've actually rushed over the field. I couldn't see that because my radio range was so bad. They have legitimately done a field rush. Let's see how this is going. Oh, we've got one AFK guy that's guarding the base. Yeah, they'll do well. This is so derpy. I mean, it's a tier 1 game on effectively a server where nothing counts, so I don't know what I was expecting. I might try and get through to the mouse. I mean, one of the consequences of the artillery spam and just the nature of artillery in this era, tanks like the mouse, like there was a long period where basically nobody played it. Tanks like the mouse and the T-95 were an incredibly rare sight because they would just get instantly and utterly focused by artillery, and they were an absolute misery to play. So I'm a little bit curious to try it out, but it might be a curiosity that only lasts for a game or two. And whatever you think of modern day arty, and it does still have issues, and it does still have things that need to be fixed, whatever you think of modern day arty, it is immeasurably better than artillery back in this iteration of the game, where you could and would just get blatted so hard and so randomly. And playing artillery was no joy either. The amount of RNG involved was absolutely insane. Yeah, I think they're going to outcap us on this one. There wasn't any particular great massive push, although, having said that, we are overtaking them. I guess more of ours have reached the cap than theirs were able to. Don't know if they were taking them too much time or whatever, but we're going to win, so hooray, we're going to have at least won one of these games. I slowed them down for like 3 seconds, and obviously that was completely vital to victory. So yeah, that's Will Attacks 0.70. You can try it out yourself for a limited period. I can't remember offhand exactly how limited a period, but they have significantly boosted the XP gain, and everything is a lot cheaper and easier to actually unlock. Do I even have enough? I've accumulated 15,000 free XP, so I could just use that to... Oh god, the old tinderbox Tiger. There used to be a point to the Tiger P back in the day, because the Tiger would get set on fire from the front all the time, whereas the Tiger P wouldn't because it didn't have a frontal transmission. But these days the Tiger P is very much just an afterthought. Anyway, I got distracted and interrupted myself, as I am so wont to do. So yeah, hopefully you have enjoyed this bit of live gameplay. I can recommend maybe giving this a go just to see what it was like if you never did back in the day, or if you did, you know, maybe it could be a slice of nostalgia for you. Heck, if you can scrape together enough friends, you can even have a go at trying to do a tank company, maybe. If you have enjoyed this video, you can do all the usual things down underneath it, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.